Hey guys, it's Aubrey from Muttley Plans. I hope everybody's had a great week slash weekend. It is Saturday the 15th. And instead of a monthly plan, or I'm sorry, a weekly plan with me video, I decided I was going to go ahead and do actually a video showing you all of the blue inks that I own. So this is going to include bottles and samples, because honestly I'm kind of in that point in my fountain pen journey, if you will, where I don't have a ton of bottles, but I do have several samples, because I like to try samples before I commit to a whole bottle. So you are going to see a bottle, and then you're going to see several samples, and I'll kind of talk to you about what I think of the different inks, because at this point, as of this week, I have actually used all of these inks. So I can kind of talk to you about that. I will be swatching today with my Jacques Urbain dip pen. Oh no, here we go. So I will be swatching today with my Jacques Urbain dip pen that my husband bought me several weeks ago. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first one I'm going to show you is my Kaweco Royal Blue. It is actually the only full-size bottle of blue ink that I own. I bought this specifically for this bad boy right here. So this is my Majan A2. I have an A1, which is phenomenal, but this A2 is a lot smaller, and it's got a plastic body to it. And you may have noticed that there's a little bit of tape right here. That's actually Leuco tape. If you're in the medical field or an athletic trainer, you probably have used that before. But anyway, because this is plastic, I use this pen every day at work because I do all of my notes handwritten first, and then I put them into the computer. So I use this every day, and if I were to unwrap this tape, there would be two little cracks here. It's still a workable pen, and it's still usable, and so I don't see myself getting another one until this just completely messes up, and I have to. But anyway, I bought this ink to go with this pen. No, wait. That's a lie. I actually bought this pen to go with this ink because at work I like to write in blue ink. Anyway, long story, but there it is. So we're going to swatch this Kaweco. And it's Kaweco Royal Blue. This is a 50 ml bottle. And I'm just going to swatch it here. That looks like a good ending spot. So, and this is a very good ink. It's definitely not a document ink. I've noticed, like, if I look back at some of my old handwritten notes, the ink is definitely not as prominent on the paper anymore, but it's still legible. And if I look at other things that I've written with this ink in, like a journal or anything like that, the ink still looks pretty good. So this is definitely a good one for, like, if you're looking for something blue to go in your journal. But it's not necessarily one I would sign or write documents that you're wanting long term with it. So, but yeah, I write with this one almost every day. I do say almost every day because, and I'll go ahead and swatch the next one, but I actually kind of left this one for a little bit. I had a little bit of this Kaweco Royal Blue in this pen, and I had one of these inks that I just didn't like and I wanted to get rid of. And so I was like, you know what? I know I will absolutely work through it within a week in this pen because I write so much with it at work. And so yeah, I'll bring on the one that I don't really like. And this is obviously personal preference, but this is Endless Candy Sea. And the reason I don't really like this ink that much is because it is a sheener. I don't know if you can tell in the light here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But it is a very heavy sheener. This was the first ink I had that was like that. And I did not appreciate writing with it. It wasn't fun for me. I used it as an ink of the week a couple weeks ago, and I just I kind of avoided writing with it, if I'm being honest. Like, I just didn't find any joy with it, and any ink that does that for me, I know is absolutely not the ink for me. And oh no, am I gonna be able to... Let's see if I can scoop up a little bit right there. We'll see. I'll get this all over my fingers. So this is Endless. Oh, whoops. I messed up. Oh, well. Yep, it's going on my fingers. And then it is Candy Sea. Oops. All right. And yep, it's all over my fingers now. That's what I get for talking bad about it, I suppose. It's really not a bad ink. Like, it flowed from the pen really well. I didn't know until I knew that I don't like heavy sheening inks. I'm a little bit more tolerant of shimmer inks, but truly I like my standard inks a lot better, I've noticed. I like when inks behave and don't really, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of flash. But it almost looks like the sheen on here is almost like a red. Very pretty, like blue. It's just that sheen that got me on it, truthfully. So that is why I'm not really a fan of it. So, all right, the next one, this one, I did not like swatching or writing with it in this. And so it took me a few weeks after I got it to actually try it out in a pen. But I was so shook how much I actually liked writing with this ink. And it is Sailor Ink Studio 641. It's a really good ink to write with. I enjoyed it. So, but, and I don't know, maybe it'll make a liar out of me. Sometimes that happens here. But, I just know that it was not yeah, see, it's gonna make a liar out of me. Thank you, Sailor Ink Studio 641. But it was in previous swatches and everything, it just was not a good, it didn't do well. It like feathered a lot. And this was the same, like, this is a Stalogy notebook that I'm using. So I haven't changed the notebook, so I don't know if it was just that certain paper, but none of my other inks have done that. So I'm not sure. And that is Sailor Studio 641. And it's actually, I liked writing with it. So it's a nice like bluish teal color there. And then actually this one, Diamine Serendipity, I actually have currently inked, and it's my ink of the week, in my Natami fountain pen with a fine nib. So I'll go ahead, and this is a shimmer. So like I said, I'm definitely not a fan of sheening inks. I'm a little bit more tolerant of shimmers, but if I could just get like a color that is like a standard ink, I guess is what they call them, I would be that's a pretty color, I would be a happy girl. So this is Diamine Serendipity. And then you'll have to excuse me, my nose is running for whatever reason. And I have this inked up in my Natami in a fine point. So long name. But that is Diamine Serendipity. So this next one is Aurora Borealis. And the reason that this one has so little in it is because this is actually the ink that my husband chose to go in his very first fountain pen, which is, I stole it from him for this, but it's this A1, Majan A1, and he wrote a ton with it when he was studying for an exam, because he is in college, but he wrote a lot with it. He wrote about halfway through a cartridge, and he loves this pen. So if you're looking for something that's like the Pilot Vanishing Point, but only like 20 bucks on AliExpress, Temu, or 40 bucks on Amazon, this is definitely it. I would highly suggest a Majan A1. This is my husband's. He got the matte black gradient, and then this is actually mine that I use. I just keep a standard black ink in here, and I love it, and he loves it. And it's not made out of plastic like this Majan A2. It's a heavy metal. And yeah, just really like it. So the downside with these is that I've only ever seen them sold with either an extra fine nib or a fine nib. I wish that they did more nib sizes, but at the end of the day, like, it's still a very good pen for a very good price, and it's just functional. Like, it's so much easier to click it and go versus having to twist off a cap. So, Aurora Borealis. And I love the color. So, the reason I have so many bluish and teals and stuff is going to be because of an ink, probably the next ink I'm about to swatch, because I wanted to try and match it. Okay, so let me put this down. So this is Diamine. And in case you're wondering, he hasn't written with this in a couple days, and it's going just fine. It's a smooth nib. I might have to steal this from him. Ooh, that was a weird R. My handwriting is awful today, guys. But Diamine Aurora Borealis. All right, so the ink that started it all for these 4 inks was Noodler's Ink Squeeteague. I love this ink. I love this ink. It's a fantastic ink. I wrote with it and fell in love with it. But the deal breaker that this ink has, and why I am on the search for something better, or a different ink that's in this exact same color, is it takes forever to dry, which I hear is kind of like it's kind of just how Noodler inks are. And I hate that because, I mean, look how beautiful that is. Like, the closest ones to it, honestly, maybe this one. Maybe Diamine Aurora Borealis. But golly, even then, this is just, it's a darker shade. It's almost like a teal black. And y'all, I love this ink. Like, I wish that it didn't take forever to dry and then I would never need a teal ink again. I would never look at another one, nothing. Unfortunately, it does take forever to dry. And like I said, apparently that's like the norm for for Noodler's ink. Oh no, I didn't get enough. Squeeze. So, and the reason this is in a little bit different sample bottle from the others is because I got this at my very first ink swap meetup. Chirps and Cheer back in November for Fountain Pen Day had an ink swap meetup for fountain pen stuff. And so there was a guy there and he brought a ton of different inks and we swapped. They provided these little sample vials, and so I got to come home with several different inks, which was really cool because I only had like 3 or 4 at the time. Alright, so the last one, so technically I guess it's supposed to be a green, but it's Ferris Wheel Press Gale Force Green. I feel like, even though it says it's Gale Force Green, that is a lie because it looks blue to me. It looks blue when I write with it in a pen. It looks, yeah, see, look at that. Like, why did we call it green? I don't know, but it's okay. It's a very pretty color. Definitely looks like a blue, not a green to me. I've written with this as the ink of the week once. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, my favorite, I must write with it again. But it wasn't bad. I'm just not, like, the shimmer does not get me on inks. And that is Ferris Wheel Press Gale Force Green. So yeah, see that Noodler's has dried down now, and it's just like this wonderful dark teal that I can't get over how much I love that ink. But then I hate it after I'm done writing with it because it takes forever to dry. And so one thing that I don't like in my journal is, like, I usually journal and then I'm ready to shut it. And so I don't, and I'll also flip back through separate areas of my journal. So like I might go from my journaling pages, back to my weekly, and then immediately go into my monthly. And so when I write with this Squeeteague, I can't do that because it will smudge, and I don't like that. But like, you can't beat this color. Truly, the closest thing is this Aurora Borealis, but it's still like, even when I was writing with Aurora Borealis, it was nice, but it wasn't the same. And I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to suck it up on this Noodlers because it's just, yeah, it was wonderful. But anyway, Ferris Wheel Press Gale Force Green. I really enjoyed using it in January as a ink of the week. And so that was really nice. I do appreciate the gold shimmer, but I'm just not a huge like shimmer person. Mainly because in my experience, whether I have a fine nib, a medium nib, any nib that I put it in, with the exception of my broad nib, it winds up like I can't just unscrew the cap and then go. I have to do a few hard starts. I have to press it on my blotting paper, stuff like that, to get the pen going. And so I just don't appreciate that aspect of it. But it is very pretty to write with this Ferris Wheel Press Gale Force Green. The only one of these inks that I just am trying to unload and get rid of is this Endless Candy Sea, and that's strictly because it's a sheener. The one that I'm using right now, this Diamine Serendipity, is very, very pretty. I've enjoyed it, but it does have that shimmer aspect, and so I have had like one or two hard starts in this pen, which I never have problems with hard starts in this pen. So that's my only like thing. And to be fair, this is a fine nib. The Kaweco Royal Blue is very good, but as you can see, like, it went down very dark and then it's already lightened up quite a bit. And that's what I mean, like, if you're gonna have writing on a sheet of paper or anything, it lightens up very, very quickly. So keep that in mind if you have this Kaweco Royal Blue. But otherwise, it is probably the most dependable ink out of all of these blues that I've had and written with, because well, I don't have any problems. Like, in this pen, this might be bad, but up until a week ago, and I still haven't, to be fair, but because I use this ink in this pen all the time, I've had this pen almost 6 months, and I've never cleaned it out. I just ink it up and keep on going. And, I mean, I might wipe the nib every now and then, but other than that, I don't really have to worry about it clogging up the pen. And this is an extra fine, like, this is tiny. I don't usually do these types of nibs, but like I said, the Majan seem to only make extra fine or fine nibs. But I haven't had any issues with this Kaweco Royal Blue in this extra fine pen. So do with that what you will, but this is all of the blue inks that I currently have in my collection. If you liked this video, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, maybe leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know, have you tried any of these inks, or which one of these inks is your favorite and why? I'd love to hear from you, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. That is for free, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.